key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. Yes, yes, y'all. It's me in the place to be, Joel Sylvain, here with you guys this week on Power Moves. There's a lot going on. Man, I mean, it for me to do the rundown, I got to do it real quick because, like I said, there's a lot going on, and we got a great guest tonight that you're gonna enjoy. Her story is amazing to wrap up Women's History Month. Because without our ladies, we would not be alive, straight up and down. And so, with that being said, let me give you a rundown of what's going on in the world of entertainment. Your girl Issa Rae just signed a $20 million deal with Viacom, CBS, and HBO. She getting that bag. Go ahead with your bad self, Miss Insecure. This coming Thursday, you got to see my man Noriega got the big time, the big homie interview with Cameron. Woo! It's going to be fire. So check it out on Drink Champs, 8 o'clock. Definitely go check it out. No, 10 o'clock, that is. Go check it out on YouTube, Revolt TV. And you know, this coming Sunday is Easter Sunday, baby. Dress your best because we got the verses of all verses classic. Bring the kids, give them a history lesson, let them know where they came from, or let them know how you came from. Cause you know when the parents was listening to the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind, and Fire, woo! That was some producing music. And I mean it in both ways. So they're going to be battling on verses. And guess who's going to be the DJ for verses? The one and only DJ D Nice, who just won the NAACP Entertainer of the Year Award. Big shout out to the big homie D Nice. And then, what else we got going on? We got to touch bases on. Let's talk about the NCAA tournament. Ooh, the girls, the UConn just won it by 1 point with a controversial foul call. I don't know. They might have to bring in the instant replay because that was definitely a foul. But you know, you can only do and say so much with these refs. You know what I mean? Want to give a big shout out to my boy, Mr. Mario Pizzini, who represents Caleb McLaughlin. You know, that's the kid that's on that Netflix show. Now I'm catching a blank. Lord have mercy. But anyway, he's going to be on the Concrete Cowboy this coming Friday, April 2nd. Go check him out on Netflix, Mr. Caleb McLaughlin. And with Idris Elba, you know, the chocolate man that all the ladies love. All right. And, you know, on that note and on the sports tip, got to give a big shout out to the Brooklyn Nets. You know, they picked up LaMarcus Aldridge. They picked up Blake Griffin. Kevin Durant's coming back next week. So, you know, we focus on the end of the season, but then the Lakers picked up Drummond. So I think the playoffs is going to be interesting, but don't sleep on the Portland Trailblazers because, you know, they got Mr. Powell from Toronto, and that's solid. That five that they got is pretty solid. So stay tuned on what it do. So on that note, let me share with you who we have on the show. And what I want to start off with is it's all about finding your why. Understand this. And you know, we always talk about the 9 medallions. And the 9 medallions with my partner in crime, Kevin Carr. He's not able to make it tonight. But, you know, I'm going to hold it down for the both of us. I'm going to do the career crossover and have and do some double duty time over here. But I want to share a little story about my big time friend from the Nova area, the DC area, the original Chocolate City. You know what I mean? Chocolate City, because I love me some DC Nova area. I'm not gonna lie. You can't go wrong with the seafood. You can't go wrong with the culture. You got people from all walks of life. And DC back in the days, you definitely kept your head on a swivel. Swivel. But this lovely lady here hails from T.C. Williams High School. I don't know if you remember the Titans, the movie that Denzel Washington had those guys and he was the football coach. That's based on a true story of that famous high school. And that high school was T.C. Williams High School. And when we're going to talk about my friend here, let me get her bio. She grew up in Alexandria, Virginia, raised by a single mother. Her first memories are of painful hospital visits treating her gigantic congenital nevomelanocytic nevus, a skin condition that left her back covered with moles, which required doctors to scrape off her skin, replacing it with skin taken from the back of her legs. From this early adversity and pain, she drew the strength to endure pain, isolation, and emotional neglect. And blessed with a strong work ethic, at the age of 14, she was bringing home the bag. She was taking care of her younger siblings. After a semester at college, she had to return home inspired with newfound confidence and went to HBCU at that, Norfolk State University. And then she started a successful career in the federal government that lasted about 10 years. After the 10 years was up, she had enough because she had two kids and she couldn't deny the ability to support her family. Therefore, she resigned her job and she designed her own life by founding her own company, TBS Facility Services Group, that organizes and carries out moving duties for government agencies. And after a series of terrific high-profile successes, including moving jobs for the Department of Transportation, the Gaylord National Hotel, she grew rapidly. And today she earns over $1 million in revenue. Cha-ching, cha-ching, having achieved her goal of financial independence. And that's what every woman wants, right? Well, it gets better. She taught her children the art of entrepreneurship and entrusted major parts of her business to them. So she imparted legacy planning. Also, when she hired movers, she created a nonprofit organization called the Phoenix Reintegration Project that offers free job training to those who return from incarceration. So everybody's talking about what are we doing for the folks in the prison system? She's been doing this for years, bringing it back. In addition to that, she turns negatives into positives. And from her sense of loneliness, she draws strength to stand alone. From feeling isolated, she sees the value in community and recognizing the love she never received. She understands how to offer the same love to her children and her community. Let's welcome to the show the author, the entrepreneur, the boss, and the mother, Miss Tasha Berry. Welcome to Power Moves, girl. What it do?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Wow. Every time I hear that bow, I'm like, who is that?
That is
Who is
you,
that?
girl. That is you. So what's going on? I mean, we going through this pandemic. It's been crazy. How's been business for you? Are people moving? Like, what what's going on?
Um, actually, and for me personally, with a lot of like everyone else, I've had some loss through COVID, financially, you know, I can say mental health, just worrying about, stressing about, what's the next move as far as financial career. I lost my grandmother and my father to and my niece to COVID,
Mhm.
all within 30 days. In spite of, though, God is still on the throne. I've actually taken all that, with me. Adversity has always been a way that has moved me. It has always empowered me. So what I had to do is I had to actually go back and reinvent myself. I had to think outside the back box. You spoke of some of the accolades that I have as far as being a minority business owner, owning a nonprofit, being self-published. Actually just got published by Morgan James Stanley, which is a New York bestseller publicist. So they'll be reading
Woo!
that.
Congratulations. Hey, producer, can we get a little applause here? A little applause?
So yes, I got picked up by that. So that's a great thing. So actually, what I'm doing is that reinventing myself to actually start doing more philanthropist work. So I do more in the community. All the skills that I've learned and I do, all the accolades. What I do is I actually offer those free in the community.
Mm.
So I help small businesses. Um, Start businesses. I empower women, women, and especially young women who are coming home in incarceration, um, you know, to start business. Because my whole mindset is, on tomorrow is somebody who's going to come home from incarceration to this mess. They're not going to have their community. They're not going to have their families because their family's dysfunctional because of that's been a lot of stress in the family with
Mm-hmm.
COVID. So the domestic violence rate and child abuse since COVID, if you look at statistics, they're higher now.
Mm-hmm.
But so you got these individuals who are coming home. So what I've always wanted to do is be that light, a little light. So if it's a young man, it's a young brother, what all the skills and resources and networks, what can I do to help be that little light? So that's what I'm doing. I'm continuing doing with my nonprofit. I applied for a grant because I'm trying to get courses that I develop for free into the prison system, into the detention system, because we can, get their mindset to thinking entrepreneurship, mentorship, and leadership. Get their mind in why everybody, when you're incarcerated, um, I've never been, but they have that settled time. There's that still time. When
Mm-hmm.
God say peace be still, you get so much out of it. So it's
Right.
like, when is the best time to empower them with information? So when they come home, even when they're not going to have the state government, they're not going to have training, they're not going to have welfare now. They can't get through food stamps. They don't even have in DC and Virginia now. They know all closed down all the what do you call them, halfway houses. They're closed.
Mm.
So that's why you have the incarceration rate going back. So again, just everything that you said that I'm doing, through the grace of God, I've been able to succeed with that, because a blessing with a blessing, I'm doing that. So it's actually been great for me because it's actually my foot is on the pedal. My mission still hasn't changed. You mentioned the name of my company. It's called TBS Facility Services Group. I started in 2006. That means to be of service. That's what my mission is. That's what my passion has always been, to be of service. Because my background came from when I came up in '86. In the '80s and everything, there was a sense of community. That's how I got by. Because unfortunately, my mother was a single mother, and she was raised by a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have, all we had was the community, the recreation systems, the neighbor next door, the free bag lunch. So I'm just, making it my mission to be that, light for everybody else because I know it works. I know it works.
I want to pause on that thought because I think one of the things that you mentioned, and I want to highlight my partner with his company called Pro the CEO, and he has a mantra called Champions, and the M in champion is mental toughness,
Mm.
right? And so that's why I wanted you on the show, especially as a single mom yourself. And your story is amazing. I can't wait for you to elaborate even further. But the mental toughness that you took from the adversity of the health that you went through, but how do you share that mental toughness with these folks that have been incarcerated and help them generate money, help them take care of their family? Because that's magic right there when you can take your mental toughness and make money.
It's twofold. I tell them, push through the pain. I know from personal experience, being, I was in the hospital. I had 23 surgeries. You know, I had to lay on my back. Each time I laid on my back and was in hospital. I was in children's hospital 2-3 months. Had to re-walk, re-talk. And it, you know, my back, my scar was like a burn. So it was a burn. And that's how someone walked past it, it will burn. But I always know it was healing that process and was right, you know, and it was going to be joy on the other side.
All right. So hold on. We're going to pause because we got to pay some bills. My producers are like giving me the hook. So there's a feel the burn because you're going to get it on the other side. So on the other side is our commercial. Once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. This is In Touch News, reality radio where everyone is a star. See you after the break.
So believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Carr Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-7425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. Legal and medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
All right. We back. So this is Power Moves with celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect on In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everyone is a star. We got our esteemed guest here, Tasha Berry from TBS Facility Services and the Phoenix Reinvention Project, and just the boss in the place to be, and the author of Finding Your Why, which is getting ready to get republished once again. So in the last segment, we were talking a little bit about, about money, about how do you turn your mental toughness into money. And you talked about how when you were in the hospital and you had to lay on your back, there was a certain burn that was occurring in your body because of all the scraping and things of that nature. And as people walked by, you knew this pain was unbearable, but you knew that there was something good on the other side. So once again, explain to us, how do you take that emotion, that feeling, and convert that into money power?
When I think about that, I said, trouble doesn't last always. And that's what I always thought about pain. Mm-hmm. And it's joy always. I mean, through pain and tears, it's always a rainbow on the other side. But you have to push through the pain to get to it. Mm-hmm. The pain can be physical, it can be mental, it can be financial, it can be so much. But you got to push to it. You can't avoid it. Mm-hmm. You can't backtrack, but you got to push through it. So that's always been my mental set because I just already knew it was going to be another day. So that was when I talked to individuals who are incarcerated, not only just the incarcerated individuals, it was, welfare to work. It was just, individuals. I have this discernment. I believe in people more than they believe in themselves. I'm telling you, it's a God-given gift. I can see the light. I can feel the joy in their lowest point. And I'm like in their lowest point, they don't even realize. So when you're talking, when they come home and people always talking money, it's not even about the money. The value is so much. What you get out of legacy, creating opportunities, creating jobs, succeeding in having a GED, now getting the high school diploma, not being in your son's life or daughter's life, and now spending time in your son's life, being drug-free. That's value there. So take away the currency,
Mm-hmm.
their currency, and I'm talking about currency. It's
Mm-hmm.
always community before commodity. That's
Woo!
my always.
Repeat that again. That's a very nugget. That's a TB nugget right there.
Community before commodity. Always. Always. And I stand on that. I stand on that. And if you go that route, I'm a witness, to it, from where I've survived as a minority woman owner in a predominantly white industry in the Washington, D.C. area. I was a successful businesswoman. You know why? Because he told me I couldn't. He was man.
Mm-hmm.
But the man had already put it in me.
That's right.
That's
right.
So I stood on that. So all that do is just, I'm from Alexandria, and I'm like, okay, tell me no. And it was a challenge for me. So this is just my mindset. It's easier for individuals to people are more receiving of giving support and helping others or telling individual stuff if you've been through it. The difference about me is that it's proven. I ain't read it in the book. Didn't nobody tell me about it. I was a business owner. I was a single mother. I was a divorced mother. I had drug addicts in my family. There's nothing you can tell me that, oh no, my story different. No, our story is the same. We just went different ways about it. But we're all trying to get to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Peace and legacy and generational wealth in that order.
That's right. That's right.
So when you talk and then you haven't, then like I say, I would, when I just, a lot of people just need to be, I care. I got on, I care. How many people have you, especially during this pandemic, picked up the phone and said, how are you doing? How are you really doing? How are you really doing? We don't need that $1,400 check. Take that $1,400 check and create me a program so these kids can get some structured programs. Put it in the community. Take that $1,400 check and reopen up some of these. Put that money in them grants. Now y'all done reappropriated somebody else to put them grants in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just, it's just who I am, and I'm sorry. And so I wanted to say one thing too. The name of my nonprofit is Phoenix Reintegration.
Phoenix Reintegration.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. So let's talk then a little bit about, you mentioned that during this pandemic, you've lost 3 family members, close family members in this pandemic within 30 days. Mm-hmm. And you still had to run a business. You still had to take care of your own family, immediate family, that is, as well. Where did the mental, what did you tap into to be able to handle that? Because emotionally, it takes a lot out of you. When you lose a grandparent, when you lose a niece, within 30 days, it's back to back. And sometimes with all this death that occurs, you almost can start feeling numb from the pain.
You know where I got it from? I had a grandson that was born October 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my strength came from. Because prior to that, I was, I'm like, what in the world? I can't, all the resources, the skills and everything I had, I couldn't go out. I couldn't tap onto any of them. I could, I'm a people person. So I couldn't hug on my people. I couldn't encourage my people. I didn't have, my contract, my government, my last contract was September 2020. I didn't have that, not everything tapped out.
Now, when you said September 2020 or or 2019?
20. My last contract lasted because I had a 5-year contract, so it ended that term. But that was the final contract that I had on the TBS side. Because I did 100% federal contract. I was at USDA, CDC, FBI. I was at 5 different agencies. But we do office relocation, so we move people and within federal government, and we move IT. Nobody's in the building. So they didn't need our services anymore. So, and then IT, they outsource all the IT services. So it's like, okay, well, so I didn't have that for my mental mindset to keep me busy.
Right.
You get into work or you go out and you be, with family and friends or socialize. You didn't have that. But my grandson, his name is called Phoenix. That's his name. And that's right. That was my saving grace. That was my saving grace. And I had to think about whenever I saw him and he touched me and I hugged him, I didn't want him to feel pain. I didn't want him to feel disappointment because he hasn't experienced it. So I just wanted to make sure every time he see me, see me, feel me, hear me. It was joy, and it had to be real. So I had to, sit back. That quiet time is loud. It's quiet, and I went and got mental counseling. I spoke to a psychiatrist, and to just get my mind right, mentally, and physically. So that's where it was. I had to take time out. Okay, you know what? I need to go talk to somebody. I love the Lord, but for me, I just had that face. I hear somebody in my ear. Yes, Tasha. No, Tasha. Think about this, Tasha. Don't be so hard on Tasha. You wrong, Tasha. Check me in and out. And give me that balance. So that's where it came from. And with that, between that, my grandson, and praying more, and I'm talking about foot on the pedal and girl on fire.
So what exercises are you doing then? Because normally when you do go see someone to help you on the mental side and to tap back into your power, to rejuvenate yourself, what can you share with others that, besides the fact that you focus on, making sure that you had illumination of positivity for your grandson, but, a lot of times when you give so much to other people, you end up being empty yourself, right? So, what exercises did your advisor, your mental counselor shared with you that you can impart with others?
When I wake up in the morning, I don't jump up. I don't turn the TV on. I don't grab that cell phone. I just lay there for a minute and just breathe or just do nothing. Take my time and just digest being alive. That's the first start. And I like right now I'm in Charlotte. So I actually I booked a ticket on Tuesday. What's today? Tuesday. I booked a ticket yesterday afternoon because it felt like I was suffocating. So I just booked a trip and I'm sitting here in Charlotte, North Carolina in a hotel room by myself and taking the time out and breathing, not doing any work, but it can't be rush and overthinking. That anxiety and depression, it'll settle in, especially when your mind, and I've had it before. I realized I had it before, but I was moving so fast in the living, I missed it. So now it was really bothering me because I'm sitting still and it's coming out. So just stop, just be still.
And I guess what I love about what you're saying is when you are still like that, you can truly process your emotions.
Yes,
right.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Because at a lot of times, when, and it doesn't matter whether you're an employee or if you are an entrepreneur, life happens and there's a lot of stress that comes your way, and you're, like you said, you're so focused on making money, on the commerce, but at the end of the day, you know what, you gotta first be at home and in harmony with yourself. So I love, that's a great tip that you just shared. Before you get up, be still. So on that note, we need to be still because it's time to pay our bills. So this is Power Moves. Once again, we're going to pay some bills where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. We'll see you after the break on InTouchNews.com. Reality radio where everyone is a star.
In Touch Radio, where you can listen to a cruising flow of smooth soul and jazz, today's R&B, a fun touch of hip-hop and gospel.
All my music on one station.
Giving you a buffet of music, news, and entertainment. We're In Touch Radio.
This brutal weather that we experience every year in Florida leaves hundreds of residents needing repairs to their property. If your home has been damaged or needs remodeling, leave it to the professionals. Call Reeves Building, Plumbing, and Roofing at 813-238-6197. That's 813-238-6197. Reeves Building, Plumbing, and Roofing have been serving the community for 43 years. Reeves Building, Plumbing, and Roofing is a proud sponsor of Jazz at Miss Connie's House.
We back. This is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. This is In Touch News, reality radio where everyone is a star. We got our special guest, Miss Tasha Berry from TBS Facility Services, in the place to be. I think she's out and about. Is Charlotte? There she is. So in the last segment, we were just kind of wrapping up on the importance of mental toughness. But in order to be tough, you got to learn to let go, refill yourself, and be still. And that's a great practice for a lot of our folks who are employees or entrepreneurs. You know, don't jump and grab the phone. Don't jump and watch the TV news and get stressed out. Just chill and be still. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, you know, what are the other things that you can share with us that allows you to do the things that you do? And especially, you know, you're a single mom of two kids when you were coming up. Now they're grown, you know, they're grown.
They're grown. Them both of them have their own business as well.
You know, both. So how were you able to transfer your energy, your knowledge, and your power to push that onto them?
Children watch what you do, so they don't know any other way. They don't know any other way at all. Both of them. My son has an HVAC certification, and my daughter does culinary school. But it's the mindset. You know, being your own, and it was never about the money. I've always talking about legacy, generational legacy. Like when I wrote the book because I wanted to tell my story to my children and utilize my own self. So they would have the Bible, and then they would have their mom's memoir. That was legacy.
Woo!
And it's
whoa, rewind. Go on, selector. Repeat that again. That was a power statement right there. So repeat what you just said again.
It's just like, you know, back in, you know, in old times, you know, they wrote their own stories. So I wanted to be able to tell. No one's going to be able to get up and say, you know, I pass away, and it'd be a pass up there and say, Tasha did this, Tasha did this. Now, Tasha wrote her story, and this is her story. And I also, too, it was most important. The book is called Finding My Why, Forgiveness and no apology. It's really
Mm.
and I wanted to tell them, my children, because being an entrepreneur and being a minority one and being the oldest and coming from my family's back, it came with a lot of sacrifice, a lot. So I wasn't there. My children, they were more so, it's probably sound crazy, they was more so contractors, employees than children. It is what it is.
That's right. That's right. That's
You
right.
know, but they earned their own way from the time you're 13 years old. They was working, for the family business.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other, and they, they're very, very well manned and everything. But now what I'm experiencing with my grandson, who's now almost 2 years old, I missed all that time. So I wanted to be able to really give a full dialogue. And when I'm telling you this book is very transparent, I am a very transparent and open person, because there's so many people that I find, and mostly men, because I talk about my relationship with men, being a minority, being a business owner, a successful business owner. That was the challenges within itself when it came to relationship. I did that. I became that, but I had no real male role models in my family. We were all women, all single women.
Mm.
But again, that came, so back to, I wanted to create my own, telling my own story. So that's what the memoir was. But it was so, and after every chapter, there's a blank page and it says, leave your emotions here, because it was so relatable to so many people, because I talked about so many, layers of things, relationship with my mother, relationship with my father, relationship with my grandmother, my children's father, being an entrepreneur. I talk about feelings, raising entrepreneurs. Not only my son and daughter, but my nephew Jamar. He has a successful IT company, a multi-million-dollar IT company that he started off as me. So I wanted to be able to tell my story, and I charge everyone, to journalize and tell your own story. Don't, that's the issue, the problem today. Everybody telling their story, but us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what do you mean? I know what you mean by that, but I want you to elaborate. What do you mean by that?
It's, like, when you talk about history,
Mm-hmm.
we're only going by, and then they don't even have Black history in school anymore. We're only going by, their definition of it.
Mm-hmm.
And also too, I mean, I hate to go there, but I am,
No, go there.
You know where I'm going. I said, because even when when you talk about religion, in politics, it's their interpretation, not our interpretation, because we don't educate within our own home.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if we just like the laws, when it comes to politics and the laws, we not governing ourselves. We're not writing our own compliance, because we don't document, we don't share. We're not open to, we're not teachable, because we so like this, scrubbed over. So I try to be, to this day, at 51 years old, try to be the person I needed in my life, as far as a mother, a sister, a neighbor, a friend. That's who I try to live my life. Everybody who I didn't have in my life. And I stand on that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I love that you said that. So talk about a time where you, as a woman, because this is Women's History Month, right? That when it came down to the relationship part, because women need love just like men need love. But you talk about how being an entrepreneur is a struggle. So how do you balance that? How does a woman make it work? Because I
failed twice.
Okay.
I own it.
Own it. That's right. Own it. So
own it. I failed. I failed twice because I couldn't be I couldn't be the boss, and I didn't know how to turn it off and being a boss in my household and in my relationship. I didn't know how to turn it off, and I own that. I own that. Even when it came to parenting my children with their fathers, I didn't know how to turn it off. So that's some of the mentoring that I do, and I tell women, we don't wear the pants. We don't wear the pants. And so it did, I failed in it, but I own it. And it talks about in the book, I'm recently divorced. But we're great friends.
Mm-hmm.
After we got divorced, we started counseling because we were friends first. And I had to go back to all that I went through in that relationship and face that and own up to my stuff. It wasn't about him. It was about me, for me to move forward in my life. So I couldn't hold on to any of that. Even though the divorce is over, I couldn't hold on to any of that.
That's deep. That's deep, girl. So how did you? Yeah, come on now. You holding out. Come on now. I know it's in the book and everything, but I'm just saying. Like,
I said it. I think I did say it earlier. I said you have to push through the pain. I said a couple of things. You have to push through the pain. That quiet time is loud, but it's good. Mental health. We have to talk. We don't talk. Like anybody who follow me on social media, I am the most transparent person in the world. But I share because there's always somebody out there and say, or send me a message, say, thank you, Tasha, for that. Do you know what you think? How can I help you? Or can you help me? Right. It opens up dialogue. Just like what you're doing, it opens up dialogue. That's good for me, for my mental. To know that I ain't in I'm not in, not just the good I'm doing, the bad I'm in. And, it's work every day. I'm not alone.
That's right.
Not alone. Saying we have, I love the Lord, I have God, but you still got to have that human touch and feeling. And because of COVID, it took it away. So that's why we got to have, I thank God for, individuals like you have these platforms like that. We got to have open talk and open dialogue. And I pray that, what I said, something I said today, that as I say this, I'm still healing and somebody start looking to heal or is receiving healing.
That's right. On it. So, but during this time, you launched your book 2 years ago around, and then now it's getting ready to relaunch. So how did that happen? Because obviously, you must be shining, because a lot of times when we bury ourselves because we might be in a dark place, right? In the soil, we're in a dark place, but then as the sun keeps beaming on us, we start growing, right? So obviously, even though you had some dark times, but now all of a sudden you got picked up by a major publisher. How did that happen?
It's nothing but God. Me writing a book, honestly, when I'm saying I was in it and didn't realize I wrote a book till I got I had the book in my hand. Like, that's how I was just moving in it. Like, I self-published it. It was on Amazon. It has, 5 stars on Amazon. I did a book tour, in the DMV area. And I had actually 4 publicists that came to look to publish my book. And my attorney vetted the one that we chose, which is Morgan James Stanley. So not only did I self-publish on Amazon, it's on what you call ebook. It's an ebook as well. So now when they relaunched it, they decided they didn't make any changes. The only thing they did was change the cover, and that's because I wanted to change the cover. They didn't change any of the book, and that is and they've been in business for almost 27 years. They've only done that 3 times. They didn't have to change anything of it.
Wow.
And I changed the book because I wanted my face off of it, off the book.
Okay.
And that was my decision. So it'll be relaunched. It actually went. It's on Amazon now to be relaunched in June, but it'll be an auto book as well. And it'll be in all the major bookstores. And I actually started a book tour. But with this book tour, it's not going to be a traditional book. It's going to be more so mentoring, because I want to actually do more mentoring, go into the communities, go into the detention centers, go into grassroots organizations, and have sessions, roundtables, read my book, and let's talk how it is relatable to you. Not my story, but how it relates to you. So that's the move that I'm doing. So it just happened. And then at the same time, I created ACTS, Small Business Support, which is a program where We teach individuals how to start a business. Everybody can start their business. Like, for example, you have a business, but you had to go back and make sure your business structure is correct. The EIN number, a registered agency. Do you have your DUNS number? Do you have the, virtual office, everything? So I'm helping with that, but also helping you build it to where you actually can compete in commercial and federal procurement.
Okay,
So
okay.
So
hold
do
that. So
all
hold
that.
that thought. So hold that thought, because it's like a business in the box, right? So
Yeah.
once again, speaking of businesses, we got to pay some bills because some businesses are paying our bills. So once again, this is Power
I'm gonna be one of
Moves.
them businesses too.
That's right. So once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio, where everyone is a star. See you in about 30 seconds to a minute. Who knows? Peace.
Trap Talk, Just Talk with Madam CJ. Right here on In Touch Radio every Thursday at 7 p.m. Talk to me, baby. Trap Talk, y'all, on In Touch Radio.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Woo! We back. This is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. This is the respect segment right here. And so we have our distinguished guest, Miss Tasha Berry, making things happen, making publishers respect her to the utmost, right? So talk to us about, as a woman, what is it like traversing through this industry of government contracts? Because, a lot of times, like you said, the man has no respect for regular women, much less a Black woman. So talk to us about a time where you had to check a person.
A lot. Because, one thing, my background, actually, when I was with the federal government, I was a senior paralegal specialist for the Department of Justice. So, law, contracts. So I'm very versed in writing in contract at CFRs and contract proposals. So the difference between a lot of businessmen, they have muscles, but they don't have the brain. So you're gonna be you can be in the field, but you gotta have that paperwork first to get on the field.
That's right.
So that's what it was. So, I knew how to write the RFQs. I knew how to write the proposals. I knew about the different certifications. I knew how to navigate in commercial and federal on the procurement side prior to the mobilization. So especially in this industry, and you in a labor-based industry. I started off in, I've owned 3 dump trucks. I've done trunk truck. I did experience with. You have to have that technical piece. And then I knew how to leverage my diversity, being a minority woman-owned business. I knew if they had these big projects, I got on the Gaylord Hotel project because they had awarded that contract to a big business, a big white business, but in their contract, they was required to hire 5% minority woman-owned local business. My house was across the street, so I went straight to the State Department, the state procurement office, and said, y'all gave this to this company, but they don't have, y'all ain't award no contract. So they gave me a piece of it. I'll take whatever they want. So we wind up, they hired us. They tried to call themselves giving us the hardest work. They gave us all the labor. So they brought in all the furniture. We had to they unpacked the furniture, but we had to put the labor, the furniture, and it's the Gaylord Hotel, inside all the floors walk. So they told me they had all these guidelines on who you can hire. You can't hire this person. You can't hire this. I hired everybody. They told me I couldn't hire. All right, welfare to work, every returning citizen, anybody who had walked up and down that street 2-3 times, go across the street to Kmart, get you a shirt and tie and pay less, and get you some boots. I hired them. So I knew how to navigate in that piece, the technical piece. So that's what made me stand out.
Wow. That's bold right there. That's bold. So you mean to tell me they told you don't hire these people and you were like, You knew how to navigate because you knew how to read the contracts.
Yeah. And they had to get their furniture upstairs. They had to get that upstairs.
So how does one develop that type of leverage? Like, what did it take for you to understand contracts, to be able to read them and then check people because of your knowledge?
You know what? A lot of people make it more technical than it is. You have to get in it and work your way backwards. So actually be the person, be the laborer, and then document everything that you're doing. So if you're a laborer and you're required to move in the boxes to the 3rd floor, you document, I move this box from shelf number 3, 25 steps to the 3rd floor using my left hand. You write it all down. So then you think about it, that's the technical piece. So you have to get in it. So that's why I try to tell people, I said, think that way first. And then when you go and read these RFQs and these proposals, you're like, oh man, they just writing down what I did. They just elaborating and, using bigger words, or instead of saying it in 3 sentences, they write it in 2 paragraphs.
Right. So
it's just that, it is, and that's how I did. I started off doing moving the boxes. Then I started out doing computer disconnect, reconnect. Then I won a contract doing tier 1, tier support, IT support. But again, if I touched it, I was going to provide that service. So they had me moving the computers. I'm be doing whatever. Okay, you know what? That contract is bigger than what I'm doing.
Right.
Let me see. Oh, so y'all turn the computers on. So I'm doing disconnect, reconnect. Now y'all doing asset management. So every time I touch it, I became their competitor.
So Tasha, talk to me about, how did you get the clearances? It's not easy to get them clearances, girl. So and then also, from a respect segment, share with people, what do they need to do? So we're gonna also combine your Ask a Business consulting services. What do people need to do to get themselves a minority certification? Because that's big.
It's when we speak of clearances for the service that we play, all contracts. Again, it's in my book. My son has armed robbery charges. He had a life prior to. And when he came home, he had 4 armed jobs, but he ran all my contracts, government contracts, because the contract in the Forest State, if I had one person on there who was cleared, they can escort 5 people.
Mm.
5 people don't have to have a clearance, because we was just going in there, putting boxes down and drop, picking up a box and drop. We wasn't staying for 2 weeks, 3 days. But they tell you can't get on the contracts. So every one person in different agencies, but you have one person who was escorted. So my daughter and myself, it was already 1 to 5.
Oh, gangster. I like it. I like it. So what do people need to do, to set themselves up so that they can get these contracts? Because what's happening, as we already know, right now we're in the heat of the battle of this George Floyd trial.
Oh.
Right? All I can do is pray that justice will be served. And I'm not talking about the justice that here in the United States, I'm talking about the God justice, right? But nevertheless, what I really want to touch on is the opportunities that's afforded because of what happened last year. A lot of these corporations are now saying, hey, you know what, we want to donate, or we want to appropriate a whole bunch of money for these businesses, et cetera, and a lot of times they're looking for folks that are certified, minority certified. So we got a couple minutes, so if you can kind of do a little speed round thing going on, but how kind of help guide people through this?
We have to get in, be able to get on the playing field, and that starts back to making sure when we're starting these business, our infrastructure is set up correctly, so we can be on fair playing field as them. So making sure we get registered with the state. Make sure you have you can't have a home office. You actually have the virtual office. They any little thing. So start with the infrastructure first, then have your capabilities there. So it's before the checklist. It start with the infrastructure. Anybody now, if you start up, if you start a business, if you have everything registered, EIN number, registered to the state, Artisan Corporation. I have the same business plan I had since 2006. You write it, but the banks don't look at it, but you should have it. But it's certain things. You have all that information first. So you can compete. You can apply for a federal contract now without even being certified, because you're a small business. But they're going to make sure you incorporate it correctly. That's all you have to do, and that's what we're not doing. Even if you have, and I tell everyone, if you hear my voice, start a business. Start a business, and even if you decide you're not going to even act or mobilize on that business for 3 or 4 years from now, get the clock going, because that's how these people are getting these SBA loans, because they've been in business for 3 years. No, they haven't done no work, but they've been in business for 3 years, and they just filed taxes every year and said 0. But they have 3 years in business, so they can get these SBA loans. They can beat on these contracts. Start a business. That's all you have to do is get the right incorporation. And again, I'll give my information out for free. I give that information for free. And then it's the checklist in regards to different certification. But it's not hard. But it starts there, because they go back and they check with the state. They go back and check with IRS. They want to make sure you have a bank account. They actually go on the internet to see if you have a website. They want to see a 800 number or a business line, but it doesn't cost a lot. People think, I have a virtual office. My virtual office costs me $25 a month, but I'm in a commercial building.
Right.
So that's what you have to do. Start there. And if you can leverage, and in order to get a grant, you have to have an LLC. If you start there and do those steps first, you're now in a position to bid competitively on state and federal contracts.
So on that note, how do people do business with you, Tasha? Because we got 1 minute left. Bring it on. It's your time to promote.
They can do business. My website is called ASK Small businesssupport.com. Go in there. It's free download information. It would all the steps I just told you. It's free. It's a free download information. There's also, when you get on the website, there's a phone number on there. You can call me. You can schedule an appointment. I do free consultation. Again, this moves me. I mean, I'm excited. I'm here to help anyone. Just reach out.
All right. Well, this is wrapping up Women's Month, but just because Women's Month is over doesn't mean that we won't have more women, power broker women on the show like Tasha Berry. Make sure you reach out to her. Make sure you get that book, Finding Your Why. And on every page, that's your opportunity to purge your emotions. Put your emotions right here. And last nugget that I want to drop on you. She said the two most important books you need is the Bible and your own. The book of Tasha, the book of Joelle, the book of DJ Anna, the book of Bezel. Let's go, the book of Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect on In Touch News Radio. We out. Thank you, Tasha.
Thank
for
you.
a great show. Bye-bye.